Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Vikram Rai, and I teach mass communication and journalism in St. Joseph's College. But I'm not here to speak about mass communication or media. I'm not here to speak about my academic subject. I'm here to speak on a topic which is very close to my heart, and that is running. As the slide and the photo suggest, this is a story about an unlikely runner, a story about Lappu to Vikram. I come from Darjeeling, and Darjeeling is the world's nicest place. If you look at innovation, if you go to a city, you think about innovations about big buildings, glass buildings. You look at bigger corporate worlds. You look at perfect bodies. But for us in the hills, in reality, innovations or out-of-the-box thinking comes from unexpected place, especially from the hills, from ordinary people, from consistent effort. I come from the hills where there is winding roads, there are layered histories, resilient communities, and where progress takes time. In the hills, not all are fitted in boxes. In the hills, we look at things differently. If you are sitting here, if you look at the Inspiria building, in the hills, I can see the Inspiria building from top, or I could see the Inspiria building from down. I can walk up the hill and see the Inspiria building from an upward or looking downwards, or when I'm walking from maybe a road below Inspiria, I can look at the building from top. So it gives me a very different perspective. And that's where I've come from. If you look at me, I shouldn't be here. What brings me here? I'm an average person. If you talk of me and you look and you meet me, and if anybody introduces me to you and he says, meet Mr. Vikram Rai from Vikram Foundation, and he's a marathon runner, and you would say, a marathon runner, looking at me, looking at my body, nobody will believe that I'm a marathon runner. Because I'm not a winner. I'm just an average, slow marathon runner. If you look at my choices, I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. If you look at a competitive runner, his choice of waking up in the morning would not be 6 a.m. His choice of the alarm would be 4 a.m. because he needs to train rigorously. But I wake up at 6 a.m. just like an average person. My alarm goes up at 6 a.m. and the truth is that I love sleeping. I love doing nothing. And I'm okay with it in the sense that I'm not very disciplined, neither I'm very motivated, but I need to wake up at 6 o'clock because if I don't get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I probably won't get up till 10:30. So that 6 a.m. choice is an average choice for average people. So if you go back to 2015, this is where it all started. From Lappu to Vikram started. Not because of a choice, not because of passion, maybe not because of anything else, but because of survival. High cholesterol, the uric acid went up high, I was diagnosed with gout, and running was the only survival skill that I had to take up. I could have taken up anything else, but I decided to take up the most simplest thing. At that time, I thought it was the most simplest thing because you just need to go out and keep walking. Whereas you go to a gym, you need to you need to take weights, you need to do a lot of physical activity. And knowing my character, knowing my nature, I tried to take the most easiest thing. I thought then it was the most easiest thing, and it was running. I started to run. And when I first started to run, it was so difficult because I still remember, for those people who know Darjeeling, Darjeeling, the best place to run in Darjeeling is the Mall Road. The Mall Road is exactly 1 mile, which is 1.5 kilometers. When I started running, I couldn't run. So I started walking. So I started to use the run-walk method in where I walked for 500 meters, ran for 300 meters, started to walk for another 200 meters, and ended up running another 300 meters. I kept on doing the run-walk method. And it was so difficult. So the next day, I got up again at 6 a.m. and I decided to do this again and again, till I completed a full round of running the Mall Road. And this time, I didn't run for medals, neither I ran for any trophies, neither I ran for any position, but I was running for my health. I was trying to take control of my health, my life, so that I can become a better teacher, I can become a better husband, I can become a better father. These are the things that I actually took up running for. At the age of 35, nobody wants to be a sick person. Nobody wants to take medicines and maybe have high cholesterol. That was the reason I started off. I started running. I started to run the Mall Road. Then I started to run the 5K. I started to do the 10K. I started to do the 21K. Then I started to do the full marathon. After I did the full marathon, I even wanted to go abroad and feel an international marathon. That's when I did the Berlin International Marathon. I run on an average of 3,000 kilometers a year, and I do take up this crazy 100 days running challenge and cross about 10 kilometers a day for 100 days, covering more than 1,000 kilometers in straight 3 months. This year, the 100 days running challenge is happening twice, and I would like to do it again. So I would be doing 200 days of running with a minimum running of 10K a day. But if you look at me today, you wouldn't look at someone who runs maybe 3,000 kilometers, because I don't run to look good. I don't run for a podium. I don't run for a trophy. I run for wellness, for a better health, both in the mind and whereas in the body. Because when you run a marathon, we run both. Because when you're running a 42 kilometers, once you cross 30 kilometers, your mind will say, Vikram, let's go back and let's rest. Let's not finish this marathon. You can't do it. And that's the time when we need a stronger mind to finish this marathon. But marathons is not about the first 3 winners. Please understand this. Whenever we have marathons, the Inspiria does their annual run, and they celebrate the first 3 winners. But I'm never in these first 3 winners. But again, if it's not without me, and not without the other thousands of people, the Inspiria run would have never happened. The same case with other marathons, because in marathons we celebrate the first, second, third position, and they deserve their applause. But we sometimes miss the people who run the marathon, and those are the people like me, the average people. I'm running to complete the race. I'm running to compete with my own timing. Someone could be running for anxiety, to beat their anxiety. Someone could be running to lose their weight. Somebody could be running for maybe cancer. Somebody could be running for HIV/AIDS. They are all running for different causes, and all of them are winners. But please remember, in our society, in our lives, if these average people are not there, which includes people like me, then there is no society. The society cannot be built on just the top people, the 1, 2, and 3 people. just like in marathons. Coming back to education, because I am an educator myself. When I come to this class, when I look at my students, and when you actually come to Siliguri, especially during the winters, it is a winter break for us, I keep on driving, and all of these places, all of these schools, they keep on having their hoardings, and in their hoardings, they have their first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positions. But we often miss out on the people who have, on the average, on the people who have failed. Because even they have something to look forward, the ones who are in the last. If even they have passed, that could be the biggest win for them. And I say this because I was an average student. I was never a sportsman. I was never a good student. In fact, I repeated my grade 7, not because I was weak, but because I was not motivated enough to get through that particular grade. So if you look at running a marathons and running, we motivate each other because there are only 3 winners, but there are thousands of people who finish the race and motivate each other to complete the marathon within a specific time. And that's the beauty of marathons. And in these 4 hours, if you're looking at an average person who finishes a 42 kilometers, he might take 4 to 5 hours. In that 4 to 5 hours, that's like a long battle he's fighting with himself. And that's the beauty of it. And for me, for a person like me, that's the biggest achievement that you can have, when you can actually do something that you've never done in your childhood, you've never done in your college, and you actually complete a marathon in 4 hours. That's the biggest achievement that you can do. So when you start doing these achievements, how do you do it? So you need to step out of the box. You need to step out, just like I stepped out and I tried to complete 1 round of the mall road. That's when I became confident. That's when I became, yes, I can do something. I came out from my average Vikram and slowly transformed into Vikram. So with consistency, I started to take up things. Like we could do a lot of things together. I met a lot of people, and a lot of people had common ideas. We came up with ideas like plogging. What is plogging? Plogging is when you pick up waste and you walk. You started in 2016 in Sweden by Erik Ahlstrom. This became a movement. We have started this in Darjeeling, and many people are continuing this in their respective places. During COVID, we have worked with average people, giving them support. After COVID, we are helping sportsmen, but not sportsmen who are in the top 3. We are helping people who are on the average side. And what I've learned is from average, if you go to consistency, you are no longer an average. So you start averagely. For example, how I started averagely. You might even have a failure in your life, just like I failed in grade 7. You might have a crisis in your life, just like I had cholesterol, my health was not right. But I started averagely. Anybody can start averagely. At any age, you can start averagely. You might be 18, you might be 30, you might be 40, you might be 50, but start something on an averagely, not waking up 4 o'clock. That's why I said 6 a.m. Average person wakes up at 6 a.m. But after being average, you have to be consistent and you have to follow it up with passion. Once you do these 3 things, you are no longer an average. And today, I believe that strength does not come from physical capacity, it comes from an indomitable will. You need a will. Yes, I'm going to do something in life. And excellence is a continuous process. It is not an accident. It's a continuous. I keep on running. People call me Forrest Gump. In Darjeeling, they call me, why are you running? What is the reason? And the only question they ask me is, how long are you going to keep going? How long? I'm going to keep on running, keep on inspiring people, keep on telling them, come out of their average lives. And today I would like to tell all that if I can come out from my average life, if Lappu can come out from his average life, by just stepping forward, you all can come out and be somebody in the society. I was never the fastest, but I kept going. Coincidentally, I'm the last one to speak today. Amongst all the people here, they've done so much in their lives that when I look at my life, I feel my life is so average. But yet, I'm here inside this red dot, speaking and trying to inspire people. And I think that's not average. And I would like everybody to keep going, to keep showing up, to be consistent. Because if you are consistent and if you are passionate, you can do something in your life that can change the world. So keep showing up, keep going, and your consistency will transform you from an average person to an extraordinary person. To all the extraordinary people who are here, I'm sure you can take this message forward. Thank you so much.